Ah, that's so. Yeah, I can see. I see what's going on there. You think I don't know, right? But I do. Ah, that's so. I see. I get it. I get it now for sure. I do. All right, let's get into it. You know the routine. I think I'm only gonna do this for a few more videos, but alrighty. Oh, what a beautiful morning. It's not morning right now, but that's okay. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. And just for reference, for those of you that think that that's not manly to sing this song, I'm not tripping. There's a reason that I sing that song. It's something that it means to me. All right, so let's get into it. So, what's the topic? There is something that I want to address in regards to affection matters. I think overall, in some way, people think that yeah, affection matters. Yeah, that's true. It makes sense. For some of you that might not have had a lot of affection, you might have yearned for it in certain ways or discounted it because you're like, you know what, I didn't have it. I was fine. For some of you who have maybe been wounded in some ways that you're delicate when it comes to that, you're hesitant. I understand. If we're honest with ourselves, we all want some form of connection. And affection isn't just physical, it's also mental. And so there's different ways to approach this. I think physical is obvious. I'll get into that a little bit more. But the mental aspect, sometimes it is understood, but we sometimes miss how that matters. I have touched on forms of communication at times. I haven't got into it thoroughly, but the things that we say, the way that we say things, the way that we approach things, and our demeanor. I mean, I think you've heard it said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay, so I know I deal with different personalities here. Some people don't express their emotions, they don't express the way they feel, they think. Others express a lot. Some express partial in one way, maybe not so much in another. Sometimes it's just about who you're with and how comfortable you feel. There's definitely a lot of personalities. We can sometimes over focus on something, recognizing it doesn't apply to everybody in the same way. But that doesn't take away from the fact that affection does matter. It's not just because one person is more sensitive or one person recognizes it a little bit more. Regardless, it matters. I think we look at certain ideas or words and we place them in a category where it looks like it has to be this way for this type of individual. For example, for a man, this is how it has to look. For a woman, it has to look this way. For just whatever category you want to put it in. And so, if it doesn't fit that same look, we kind of feel off balance with it. I think for sure when we're not confident in ourselves, that affects us and how we approach and recognize these things. I'm going to share a little story. The way I grew up, my family was very affectionate in a way that hugs were normal, but not just like, hey, I'm giving you a hug, it's all good, I pat you on the back. It's where, hey, I'm giving you a hug. I'm letting you know I'm here. I might hold on for a few extra seconds. I might even give a little back pat rub and kind of comfort you in a certain way because it's like, I recognize you. I see you. I feel you. I want you to feel recognized and comforted. That's how I grew up. I mean, I think it's part of the Latino part. And I remember when I encountered different people at times and I gave them hugs, I was like, what is this? I don't even understand. I remember there was this person that, um, I had met a long time ago. And I remember one of the first times, or after a few times I gave her a hug, she would hug me and pat me on the back. And it was a long time ago. We were dating. And, and I was like, what is this? I don't understand. Like, this is how you hug? I just didn't get it. For me, I always thought like, yeah, you give full hugs, and later on I realized, when in certain situations, in certain contexts, it's important to have space or, adjust if you want people to feel comfortable, maybe not invade people's boundaries, whatever. I mean, it's important to have respect. And then also, you have to understand too, there are motives. Like, I know that for me, to be straightforward, there were times that I just felt comfortable in affection. And like I said, there's boundaries too. But there was times that I had a certain motive, and so the affection that I expressed was skewed to get a certain thing out of it because that was my motive. Other times, maybe that wasn't my approach, but because of the boundaries I didn't have set up, it allowed me to be vulnerable because I was susceptible in certain ways. And so all those things have to play into it. There's going to be a follow-up video that's going to talk more in those particular topics that I just addressed. But I did want to share and continue on about why affection matters, because it definitely does. There's different priorities that people have in relationships. In my personal opinion, I think true recognition and fullness of love, of what it really means, what it really is the highest priority in how you share it with the person that you have. Like I said in one of the first videos, love isn't just something that you say, oh, I hug myself, I love myself. It's about me. It's about who you're sharing it with. And when you're in this relationship, when you have a partner, you share it with them. There's other things like finances, people, that's important to people, and that is important. I think respect, super high on the list. There's trust, there's communication, there's fun. Sometimes that gets overlooked, or sometimes it's too high on the list, but hey, each person has their own way of approaching it. But I think affection is something that people might not understand of how important it is. And so I think people sometimes they'll go through and they have this romantic chemistry and things happen and so they're like, oh, that's affection. No, but affection is deeper than that. It's not just moments of kissing and moments of progression and physical contact. It's not just saying sweet things from time to time. Um, it's definitely not mind games. Affection is genuine care for a person that you express to them in sometimes physical touch, sometimes it's in the words that you say and the way you say them, sometimes it's just even in presence. but it's care and concern and shared part of yourself with this person so that they can feel that you genuinely care. And when you're in a relationship, it should definitely be consistent. It shouldn't be just to appease somebody. And it definitely shouldn't be only when you're feeling the greatest in your life. That's why I said in these other videos, there takes a level of humility, a level of courage to overcome, and you be what you need to be for the person that is in your life. Now, what I want to make sure is that I'm not saying your life revolves around the person in the sense that all you do is appease them. That is not what I'm saying, and I hope that's not what you're getting from this. What I am saying is, in certain moments, you don't always feel great, and I understand. And that's why hopefully your partner supports you. That's why I said who you enter into a relationship with matters. But just because you have moments doesn't mean you should rob your partner. And like, this is also not saying that you always have to be perfect in the way you approach them, because we all have things that we deal with. But I just want you guys to recognize that when you do it on a consistent basis and you continue to withdraw your affection from your person, you're not just pulling back from them, you're also doing something that you ultimately don't want to do for your own self, because the person that you're in a relationship is not going to feel as cared about. They're going to feel that withdrawal. They might question whether or not you really love them, care for them, want to be in a relationship with them. And that's not what you want to happen in your relationship. You definitely don't want them to withdraw because you're having moments. And so it's just, what I'm saying is, even if it's for a short time, maybe communicate that with them, let them know what you're dealing with so they don't feel like this person is maybe going in a different direction. And also try to overcome where you continue to act in that affection. So, as I've spoken about plenty of times, um, the person that I have referenced, we had a few moments, and in that, because of where I was at and the things that I was dealing with as far as my insecurities and things I was trying to overcome and how I viewed things, I had moments. And our relationship was very, very sweet and beautiful, and I cherish it deeply. And we would say some very sweet things to each other, and and I would tell her some things that I truly meant from the deepest part of my heart, and I would tell her, and we had these responses that we had, and they were really sweet. And I guess I didn't even notice. That's how much I was focused on myself. But I guess I hadn't said some of those things for a period of time. And one day, and I guess I felt it too, because when I was telling her, I was like, I feel like she's going to notice, or I felt like this isn't as smooth or easy as it was before. We had dealt with a few things in our relationship, but either way, I wanted to say I meant it, but it didn't come out the same way that I had done in the past, even though I wanted it to be there. But because of the issues and the gap that I allowed, when I told her, she called me out, but it was in a certain way. She had a very cute way to her. And after I said it, she told me, all of a sudden, and that was a way that she kind of pointed out, like, where did that come from? And so I had thought about it, and I'm like, no, nah, this isn't all of a sudden. I have this, I've thought this, like it's true, but I had recognized when she told me that that's what I was sharing with her. That's how she was feeling. That's how she was receiving it. And I realized that there was issues and time periods in our relationship that's what I was doing to her. I was making her feel like that affection, that deep love and recognition that I had for her had dissipated, had shifted, that it wasn't there. And it's sad because it wasn't true. It was always there, and I just didn't apply it. And so when I'm telling you these things, I'm telling you from the point that don't cheat yourself, don't cheat your partner. Continue to apply it. If you have a time period where it is dissipating because of you're dealing with yourself, because you're questioning your relationship, whatever it is, a couple things. Check to see if maybe it is the right relationship. I don't know. I don't know everybody's situation. But while you're in the relationship, try to be honest. Well, be honest, of course, but be forthright, communicate, and don't keep them wondering. I mean, we all second guess. Like I said in the past, I mean, we want people to look at us. When I say people, I mean our partner. We want them to approach us in a way that's like, this is what I want from you. But then sometimes we're unwilling to do that. And each person is different. So maybe what I want from my partner is different than what she wants from me. Look, I want to say something. So I'm saying these things in regards to a relationship. And I think sometimes you guys might think of it as more of a casual situation. The person that you're dating. Yes, that matters. You should have respect for that person. But I'm looking more towards that person that you want to have a future with. If you don't want to lose your future, then consider these things deeply. And also, don't just give your affections, your deep affections, to whoever. I know sometimes we get confused. Sometimes we go after people, and these people are not willing to receive from us. And so it's just like a cat and mouse situation. That's not what I'm referencing. I'm talking about that person that you genuinely count the cost, recognize that this is what it's going to take, and you're fully willing, you're fully in, you want this, or you're in a marriage and you want it to continue to go in the right direction, you want it to get better, you want it to deepen, then these are the steps you should take. If this is your situation, then the affection that you share with that person, it is very important. I think in a lot of ways we could give portions of affection to people, but it's not that deep love affection. It's just general care. I care about that person. I care about that person. But then when you're in a relationship, you have to know how to set boundaries. You need to know how to handle those things appropriately, how to respect your partner, how to respect the people that you're around. So you don't want to be too open in that way, but you should be a considerate person. Considerate, I think, is a better way when you're dealing with those situations. When you're dealing with your partner, affection is very important. If your partner feels like that is taken away from them, you're not doing yourself a service. You're setting yourself up and you're setting them up. You're hurting your future. You're hurting them, which is what really matters. When I look back at things, I think that sucks that I made somebody that I genuinely love deeply, feel like that. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do that. You don't want to make the person that you want to spend your life with feel that way. So don't. Be the person you need to be, overcome these things, and share in these affections together. All right. So, with that being said, I think this was a pretty good one. Alrighty. Thank you. Come out.